Good morning, traders. I'm Dennis Dick.
And I'm Joel Elconin. Welcome to Premarket Info.
And welcome to another big down move. Although it's not as bad as it was earlier here, Joel, we are down 14. And if you walked in right now, you're like, oh, what a terrible Thursday. Well, we are, believe it or not, 9 points off the lows. So actually, we've had a little bit of a rally here. When did we make those lows?
We made the lows around 4:30, 4:45 this morning. Got down to 1632.75, and boy, oh boy, would I love to see that during the regular session. A good 8 points away from here. Don't have a great number underneath that until the 7-day low at 1626.50. But Dennis, I got to hand it to you, man. You really helped me out on a trade, and I
How's
just
that?
want my hats off to you. Well, I'm always trying to pick a top here in the Google, and but this time I actually put my words into action, and I took a look at the 900 puts on Tuesday. Was banking on the double top here. I was not going to give it up to that area. I was only going to give it up to the 912 area. And yesterday, they finally got under 900. They got in the money, and I was right. I was ready to cover on the close. I'm like, hey, I have some profit here. But I thought about what you said in the 2-day move, and I'm like, man, there's some momentum. So people are going to wake up, see their Google down. They're going to sell it, and even a blind squirrel can find an acorn every once in a
That
while here.
2 day move works, man. Like I always talk about that on the show. Why does that work? We always talk about the 2 day move, and when a stocks are, the market falls big all of a sudden after, had a big reversal day yesterday and we're down in the day. Why does it that we come in and we're often weak the second day? The main reason is that you have a lot of people that are in the markets that have day jobs. They don't see actually what the market has done until they get home or they read their, newspaper the next morning, or they basically find out late at night after the market is closed. What do they say? I'm scared. I want out. And when they see, the big reversal, they're all sitting on profits. They're like, oh, I'm going to sell my stock tomorrow morning because I don't want to give up all the gains I just had. And that's why you get follow through a lot of times. And that's why I'm a huge fan of the 2 day move, because it's just basically money chasing the previous day's move. Now, I've never seen really, well, sometimes you get a 3 or 4 day move, but it's always a 2 day move that I'm a big fan of. After 2 days, it becomes, a little bit of a guessing game. But I would say more often than not, from a statistical standpoint, when you get a key reversal day like we had yesterday, where we were up at 1686 and boom, we give back all the gains, close significantly weaker on the day, people get nervous and we come in and we have follow through. And that's what we
Right
are
back
seeing this morning.
back in the old days, they used to have to get on the phone and call their broker, and
Yeah.
then the line will be busy. But now we have these great platforms like Thinkorswim, where they can just wake up and hit the sell button.
Yeah, and that's it. And they do, and they come in, and that's why often you'll see the market actually bottom out, usually 20, 15, 20 minutes after it opens. So it wouldn't surprise me if we do get a continued washout here. So we're down 16 right now. Wouldn't surprise me if we went down, tested that overnight low, 1632, and possibly find some support and bounce off it. But like I said, it's a little bit of a guessing game after the 2 day move. It's the 2 day move that is predictable, and that's really the statistical advantage that you can have just by being aware of that. And that's what we had here overnight. And congratulations, Joel, for holding on to your Google puts there, because it looks like that was a pretty good trade. I like those weekly option plays. When the VIX is low, just to talk about weekly options here for a second, we'll get in the market. When the VIX is low, and the VIX has been very low, obviously not today, it's going to spike up. But when it's under 13, under 12, down there, those weekly options aren't a bad bet. They're kind of like little lottery tickets, and eventually you hit the lottery. And it looks like on your Google that might be the case for you there, Joel.
Right. You're backing off your earlier call when we were getting ready, prepping for the show. You said you thought we were going to wash out, bottom out this
We
morning, and
might.
end the day positive.
We could.
Oh, come on,
You don't
Dennis.
think there's
Come
no
on.
chance we could go? I don't know. Like if we're down 16 obviously right now, and I still think we could get a bit weaker off the hump. But it would not surprise me if we catch a bid around 10:30, 11 o'clock, and slowly start rallying. I don't know if we'll get all the way to positive, but I don't think we're going to go down like 40 points today. I just don't feel that kind of fear here. And maybe I'm wrong. Obviously, you can't be right, but all the time. But I feel like we could catch a bid here eventually, maybe in that 1630 area. Find a bid, start to rally, and maybe close not that weak.
Okay, number on the upside. Just yesterday's low, we're only 6 points away from that, 1646. So let's keep an eye on that level. We're only 6 points away from there, but boy, love to see a pop up just above that level and come right back down through it.
Let's talk quickly about the financials. We'll get to Hewlett Packard earnings in a second and the other on news stocks, but the financials usually are your weaker stocks when you have news. Obviously, the market was down on the Fed officials. Possibly tapering, and Bernanke hinting to Congress about, possibly reducing asset purchases. So, hints of the QE could be closer to ending than continuing, and that obviously is what made the market nervous, and that's what really whacked the financials yesterday. And they are following through here this morning. We got Citigroup trading down $1, although Citigroup, when you look at that, where was that overnight low? It was a lot lower than that about 3-4 hours ago.
Yeah, 5 a.m. it hit 49.02, so
Wow.
you got a stealth rally on the move here in Citigroup. The high sits hitting at 49.02 level, found some resistance at 50 and a quarter. Citigroup back under $5 here. $50 is going to be a key swing level here. If we can hold that, got a little chance of a rally. But look what the level it hit on May 14th, 49.02. That's the exact level it hit in the pre-market. So looking for that as a target to cover some shorts, or if you're brave, trying something on the long side.
What a reversal in Goldman Sachs yesterday. Obviously, right early in the morning, it ran from 161 all the way over to 164. I guess that was the capitulation where anybody that was short said, get the hell out. Anybody that wanted in bought it, and obviously that was the top there. Sold off $5 from that high. Yesterday is down another $2 here in the pre-market, trading at 157 right now. I think you'll have some follow through in the financials, at least early on here this morning.
Yeah, not much support between 158 and 156 here. Major support 155, still $2 away from there. Just keep an eye on the pre-market activity. It's just kind of sitting here at 157 with no bounce at all. So definitely not a bottoming point pattern forming in Goldman Sachs as of yet.
If you don't like the $157 stocks, bring up Bank America because a lot of people like to trade the $13 stocks. Close at 13.31, is down 20 cents. That overnight low there looks just under 12.90. I kind of like that number for two reasons. I think they probably tried it. It's trading at 13.11 right now, but I wouldn't be surprised they try to take it through 13 because they know if they get it through 13, they'll hit some stops. People use those whole numbers as their stops. Get it through 13, maybe try to bottom this thing in the 12.90 area, and then maybe it catches a bit after that, obviously depending on what the market does.
You have to keep an eye. You had four lows back in the beginning of the month between 1276 and 1289. So that area, look at that pre-market low comes down almost to that area, 1287. So
big number.
That one I'll agree with you on.
Big number for that one too. Well, if we're doing that one, we might as well go on to a couple of the last financials. J.P. Morgan here too, trading down 60 cents in the pre-market. Again, did the same thing that Goldman Sachs really yesterday. Topped out, got to 54.96, so crazy move up. Turned around, started selling off. Obviously weaker by 60 cents here this morning, but off the overnight lows.
Right, 52.51, getting a bounce since hitting that. You've had 53.30 high, so there's a couple levels to keep an eye on. J.P. Morgan just has had look at that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 up days in a row. Now giving a little bit of it back. I'd look for support coming in at 51.91. That was the low on Monday, and just going back to the pre-market low. Don't think we got that low. Once again, the low pre-market 52.51.
Let's go into a couple of the earnings stocks. Last night, Hewlett Packard did report earnings. They blew the numbers kind of away here, I say 87 versus 81, but the revenue was light. It was 27.
Yeah, what's so good about this report in Hewlett Packard?
Well, they raise. First of all, it's the expectations in Hewlett Packard. Obviously the PC market's been troublesome. Dell didn't have that great of a quarter, so they expected probably Hewlett Packard to not have that great of numbers. They beat by 6 cents like that. Revenue light, kind of expected. But they did raise their full year guidance. They raised up to 350 to 360 from 346. They also increased their quarterly dividend up to 14 cents. So people say, well, if they're raising the dividend here, things can't be that bad at Hewlett Packard. And they've come in and just started buying this stock, and this has been really an incredible move here for Hewlett Packard overnight. The thing just took off, trading 23.70 right now. It's your big stock up on the day here. Stock is trading up 11% here in the pre-market.
I like this pattern here. I was not up trading at this time though, but they immediately the momentum took it over the $24 level, got it to 24 and a
Wow.
quarter, and then someone traded some decent volume up here. It just was just hugging the $24 level really until midnight, and then broke below 24. Had a nice drop. Minor support now is 23.52. And now the rallies here have been kind of last 3 or 4 rallies here on the 15-minute chart have been stopped at 24. So I'm looking at that to be good resistance. This stock is now taking. Oh, look at that, going back to the high of the move at 24.05. So I think
Big
if
number
this thing
right
can
there.
get back over 24, yeah. And plus, you've got what about all the orders in the book to sell between 21.50 and 24?
Sometimes
I
that
mean, I
holds
know
down
there's
the
huge.
opening price a little bit, and I would actually look at that sometimes as a buying opportunity if the stock opens a little bit too low. I always get a feel for where it's kind of trading the pre-market. Opens a little lower than that. Sometimes you can get a little arbitrage or try to get a little arbitrage play there. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Looks like it's getting some support in that 23.50 area though when I look at that
It
pre-market chart.
does. It does. 23. Will probably HFT trade between 23.50 and 24 all day.
Yeah, they like to hold it in a range and just scalp as much as they can. If they could scalp 50 cents, they love that because usually they only scalp in pennies. Dollar Tree DLTR reported earnings here, Joel. 59 versus 57. Stock is trading up a buck here in the pre-market. 49.45 is where it's trading at. It closed at 48.37. So Dollar Tree getting good lift here in the pre-market.
49.85 was the initial reaction to the number, and then came back down. Since trading at that level, have not traded below 49.20. Let's take a look at the daily to see. We have 3 highs. Wow, look at that. 49.68 to 49.75. 3 consecutive highs, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday in there. Got up to there in the pre-market. I expect there to be good resistance there as well. The whole number above 50. The stock was able to get above 50 on 3 prior sessions, but only closed above there once. So should be interesting to see if some people use the opportunity to let go of some stock today in Dollar Tree.
We got Ralph Lauren trading down significantly here, and this goes right back to expectations. Ralph Lauren's been running Hewlett Packard, not so much high expectations, but Ralph Lauren did beat 141 versus 130, but their revenue is light. Nobody wants to see the Ralph Lauren because we've had a lot of good retailer earnings here coming out, and with Ralph Lauren being light on revenue, 1.6 billion versus estimates of 1.7 billion, they are taking the stock and beating it up here this morning. It's down $7. I guess it's not a huge beat when you consider it's a $180 stock, but it is down 7 points, trading at 181.
Yeah, 10,000 shares have traded, not a ton. We did hit 179.06, and now we got a bounce off that level to 181. So you can use that 179.06 as support here, but below that level, you did have a low at a double bottom at 178.60 and 178.73. But below that, you fall down to 176.5. But for this one, I mean, I've tried on occasions, picking a bottom in stocks like this, and a lot of times when they get the momentum to the downside, it's just a futile effort.
Lots of stocks reporting here after the bell. A couple retailers, Aeropostale, which is ARO, will report after the bell. The Gap GPS will report after the bell. And CRM, which is Salesforce.com, will report after the bell too. Let's go back to the Gap chart because this whole $42 area, the high freaks have had this level on their radar for quite some time. It's popped up there a couple of times just under. We know there's a big institution selling, huge chunk at the point, and the high freaks get in front, and they won't let this thing get above the 41.80 area.
Right, 41.81, 41.86, stepping out a little bit. I mean, a whole 20-cent risk off.
Whoa, those
Must
high
be some
freaks
other
are,
orders.
or maybe it's
Yeah, boy.
maybe it's the people leaning on the high freaks, like we used to say. The high freaks they know are in the 41.90s. They got the human traders saying, "I don't lean on those high freaks in the 41.80s." So that might be the case. These are human traders that are leaning here, leaning on the high freaks. But as the high freaks lean
Well,
on the institution,
it's such a chain. Cannibalism. Looking at this stock longer term here, $40 is the key level on the downside. It had two lows at 39.90 and 40.08. So if you're a little nervous going ahead into earnings for the Gap store, had put a stop there, 39.95. You get below there, you got the gap up in the 39 handle, and as you pointed out, the resistance. I'll move the resistance now since we're trading down in the pre-market. I would look at that 41.04 close now as a minor resistance as well.
just have an 8:30 number coming out. Jake, are you still there?
Yeah, guys, I gotta cut you off there for a second. Initial jobless claims just came in at 340,000. That's a miss of about 5,000. Economists were looking for 345,000 there. Last quarter, we were looking at 360,000. Looking at continuing claims coming into here in a second. What we got for continuing claims?
Not much reaction in the
No,
SPOs here to
really
that
not much
number.
reaction. We bounced up a point and a half there just real briefly, and we're kind of trading in the same spot. So it looks like the market isn't that too concerned about this jobless claims numbers because we're kind of trading the same spot we were just trading in here. So, anyways, well,
Get some resistance here, interday resistance here, right at this level here. 1641 and a half, 42 has been kept a cap on things. So we break above there, we could be looking at yesterday's low at 1646.
let's talk about gold and silver here, Joe, because gold is getting a rally here this morning. Obviously, you'd be really concerned if gold was down too, because this is what it's supposed to do when the market's weak. Gold is supposed to go up. It hasn't always worked it that way this year, but gold is rallying up here this morning, getting a nice lift. We're up about $23 here on the futures.
Right, actually, though, been much higher, been up to 1394.60 earlier in the session. Now we've been tapering off a little bit. A little bit of a safe haven here. It did sneak over 1400 yesterday. Got up to 1413 before pulling back. But let's just keep it out of this 1360 area is huge. 1355 has been the low so far in the session. Yesterday's low was 53.10 and another low at 58. So 1355, 1360, huge support here in the gold market.
Some of the miners did catch a bid here yesterday too, obviously with the overall weakness, and they are moving up here again this morning. We got Barrick Gold, which is probably your biggest one, trading up here 35 cents at 1985, closed at 1950. So this Barrick Gold's an interesting chart here too, because we did not even come close to the lows that we made when the gold fell the big $200 there in mid-April. Barrick was finding support around 1750. On this last move, we only got down to the 1850 area, and now we're starting to find a bid again. Do you think Barrick? Do you think we're going to have some life here?
Well, Dennis, I mean, it also went from 29 to 19 in 2 weeks. And stuff,
Okay.
So shorts have to cover sometime, right, in this stock. A couple good parameters on the downside. Three lows right around the 1850 level. Doesn't look like we're going to see that today. But you got some major resistance forming at really at the 20 and a quarter, 2038 level. Those were those two highs. Then you got a couple more at 2067. So a little bit of rough sledding here, but I would say get back over this 2040 level. We can make a run at 21.
And interesting enough, Gold Corp GG, which is trades very close, obviously with Barrick, it did make new lows on its recent move. 3 days ago, made a new low, GG, and now the stock actually up here 50 cents in the pre-market from its 27.15 close yesterday. So, and then also NEM, you just bring up a chart of Newmont. It also made a new low 3 days ago, and basically, or 3 or 4 days ago, and now it has caught a bid and is starting to bounce off those lows as well.
really got a number I like here in Newmont Mining here. What do you think I'm going to say for a good number on the upside, Dennis?
Let's go see. I'm trying to look at the charts here myself. You like that whole 33 area, don't you, there, Joel?
Yeah, huge, huge. Look at all those highs right around there. Popped above it yesterday. Use that as a major, major resistance point. We break above the 33 handle, and I think the stock may finally be out of the woods.
It'd be nice as those miners have taken a lot of heat. Just a couple upgrades here I wanted to mention. Actually, HOT, which is Starwood Hotels, is getting a couple of upgrades here this morning. Bank of America and Morgan Stanley both upgrading the stock. It's trading up 20 cents here. Not up much, but market is down 15 points, so it's nice to see that there is some stocks trading higher here besides the gold stocks. And hot, looks to be hot today.
I mean, come on. I mean, you're giving me an upgrade now? I mean, seriously. I mean, come on. So what do? You go out and you buy this stock now after,
A little late to the party, you're
nearly a
telling me, Bank of
10-point
America,
run,
Morgan?
and
They're a little.
I don't know what they're doing. They must not be paying any attention to the technicals here. But yeah, if you're buying this stock, yesterday's high was 69.48. I'd look to get out there. Coming back on the downside, major support 67.36 to 46. That's a double bottom. If that stock broke below there, I'd absolutely want to be out of the stock.
So you're telling me this could be one of those situations where the upgrade could get you out of a position that may have already topped. Is that what you're telling me?
I'm paying absolutely, mark this down and maybe you can make fun of me tomorrow, but I'm paying absolutely no attention to this upgrade.
Pay no attention to this upgrade. Pay no attention to those people. Market overall here, Joel. Let's just finish talking about it here because we obviously have found some, we've found some support here in this whole 1640 area for the last hour or two. Kind
Mm-hmm.
of bounced off those lows. Like I said, I do think we could see a little bit more of a washout right off the hop here. But where do you find support? I think the 1632 overnight low could find some support intraday as well. What are you saying?
Yeah, I mean, I was doing the numbers last night on it, and there wasn't a lot in the 1630 handle. 1632.75 is as good as numbers I can give you there because that's where the market traded from. That was the impetus for a big bounce. Below that, I'm looking at 1626.50, which is the 7-day low. Also looking a little bit longer term. I mean, the 1620 level is huge. I would not say that the bull market is over until we break below 1620. But just one other thing I just wanted to mention before we close the show, Dennis. Okay, what do you have? You have today and tomorrow, and then you have a 3-day weekend. And with the markets being closed, unless you're trading the S&P futures, a lot of times, if you have a weekday, today and tomorrow, people are going to be grilling hot dogs and hamburgers, looking at their portfolio, and and then boom, something happens overnight. SPOOs come in down 75,
Whoa.
and something happens in Europe or whatever. But just a lot of moves happen both on the upside and the downside on these 3-day weekends. So
Do you
unless the market can recover a little bit, I think we'll get some nervous Nellies on
do you think
Friday.
we've seen the top? Do you think that number, and what is the number, 16? What was the high yesterday? So we can get you down here.
1685.75.
Do you think we've
I
seen the
mean,
top?
I thought. I mean, we're 40 points away from here. The top forever for the top for the short. I mean,
Well, top
I
for the
think,
short term,
well, let's do a little
obviously,
bet
but
here. Okay, 1640. Let's call where we're trading. I
yeah.
think we see 1600 before we see 1680.
I'll take it. I'm going to go 1680. So you got one of us that are still somewhat bullish, and we got Joel, the eternal bear, still keeping to his guns here. Maybe we'll see 1600 today. Maybe we'll have like this market crash, and we'll get right down there today.
Why don't we up the stakes on this one a little bit
Uh-oh.
instead of a Labatt's
Instead of our
Blue Light or a
$1 bet.
six-pack?
What are you
Yeah,
what are you betting
yeah.
me on? How much? Or how many beers?
Well, we usually. Uh, I'd go a case on this
Oh,
one.
you got a case of beer on this one. I'm gonna get really drunk when I win this bet. Yeah, I'll do you. I'll do you this case of beer.
Okay, all right.
1600
Well,
versus 1680. I think we see 1680 before 1600. I'm not that bearish yet. Although I do think we could see 1630 here this morning. I don't think we see 1600. Not anytime soon.
Well, I'm not talking today. This is one of our longer
Oh yeah,
term
obviously
bets.
1600 versus 1680. So I gotcha. So, anyways, we got
Okay,
one
Dennis.
bull, we got one bear for you on the show here. That's our show for today, guys.
One of us is going to be
Well,
right,
one of us is going
correct?
to be right. We just hedged the whole show here. They're saying, "Oh, these guys. One's bullish, one's bearish." Well, that is what it is. Sometimes that's why we have a market. One guy's a bull, one guy's a bear. Talk to you guys tomorrow.